like all day, all day. I've been hearing this song all day, and I personally, I'm not that old, okay, but I kept hearing this song. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel of love. And when I got this thing with y'all the other day, the first thing I had forgot to tell y'all about that. The first thing, um, when I opened up my YouTube to see if the thing had got on here and recorded right, guess what it was? And I tried to avoid the movie. Somehow the Lord had me. When I flipped the thing, the movie still came back, y'all. And so I ended up watching this. And it's called the Tyler Perry movie, Mr. D. I don't know. I don't watch none of this stuff now. But the Lord had me to sit and watch these. And he was revealing some things to me about these based off of some of the things that I was speaking to y'all about. And he was just showing me how God do things um, in a way that many people can't understand. And we buy so much trying to understand the way God do things. When we tell people because we're excited that we met somebody and stuff, we often times are met with oppositions. And I know y'all have so many questions about that. Why is that when I'm happy or I seem happy about something or somebody, even in a career, it's not just based off relationships, but in a career, anything, when you go and you open it up to other people, just like Joseph with his dream and his vision. But we had talked about that before with Joseph, and that we understood that. Ooh, confirmation. Mm. Uh, we had understood that with Joseph. Everybody talk about he revealed his dream and he should have kept his mouth closed and yada yada, ten toes and two pennies. Okay, 10 toes and two pennies. Anyway, but that's the thing about people. They could be the first ones to say don't be judgmental and don't be out here because the Bible does say bearing false witness. So I think that is very, very profound, even us as leaders and pastors and preachers and people who teach people and give wisdom, advice, or whatever category you fall in. I think that is something to be very sensitive about and aware of because it's easy to misinterpret things. That's why I'm so stern. It's not just about y'all, it's about my heart for God, but towards his people, that I don't desire to be dishonest um to people who even trust to watch me 5 minutes. So if I'm dishonest with somebody and I've learned that through life, I can't even sleep. I can't function properly. I can't that's why I don't lie. Cause I am you ever met a person who can't lie? They just when they lie, they just sound like they just told the truth. It'll be my nervous system will get all whacked up or whatever. And that's why I know it ain't nothing but nobody, because most of everybody around me lie. They just be lying out their front teeth and act like I use all these gifts y'all be seeing operate here. They sit up there and that's something I cannot stand is a bold faced liar. You just lie right straight to my face. You know I know better. But I see why God has a disdain for that as well. That a liar shall not tarry in his sight. Ain't that's what he said? And it is. It's welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining Prophetess Natalie at Setting the Record Straight. I could turn this. I just wanted to make sure that I had a welcoming committee for you guys. There. Um so he was showing me something that was very profound and he was opening up to me. Um, it was, I think it's a song called Ready or Not, after seven, after seven, or something like that. Um, and something else I can't remember it. But I did. And I knew and I understood why God had me to watch the deeds thing. And He was just showing me every time I'm like people try to send all that opposition and all that kind of stuff. It does not bother me. What God would do is He'll come in and He'll make sure that whatever is spoken, whatever He has given me, the message, that He stamps it with His approval. He gives me the clear clarity and understanding of what's been stated, what's been said, and that it is the truth. If it's not the truth, did y'all hear in the last what? It wasn't the last podcast. It was the, I don't know. Remember the one we was talking about waiting or whatever? Did y'all hear God rebuke me with y'all in that message? I said, oh, God, I can't wait to see. I told y'all I'd be testing y'all to see just if y'all paying attention, if y'all listening and teaching y'all how to discern the truth, discern what's real and what's fake. I be showing y'all just how, and even being believers, even though you might not have an evil heart, but the enemy will try to trip you up, especially when it comes to different topics and um, ideologies and stuff like that that you're talking about and things like that. You have to be very skillful, even when you're preaching and teaching and giving wisdom and advice. Because I told y'all that the enemy is the prince and power of the air. He observes everything you speak out your mouth. That's why God talked about praying in secret, because that's something that God gave us as believers. That you're able to, when it comes to a certain portion of speaking in tongues, well, it's not revealed to the enemy. He can't intercept that. And they continue to be around here and fight about some stupid stuff. But those of us who know, we know. Okay. And with Jesus, you will see he never did have debates and all that stuff about that. He demonstrated kingdom. He demonstrated what his father had already established, and he built upon that foundation. That is the goal. That is the key to obedience to God, and not forming our own narratives and whatever, knowing that those things could be very false. Those things could be contradicting. Those things can lead people astray. And if you're going to do this, you're gonna want to be aware of that if you really love God and you really care about people and what God has called you and assigned you to do. If you can get on here and just lie, like you got one of them mile long gaps in between your teeth or something, if you can just lie to people and have no conscience and it does not bother you, you have a problem. Let me be, if nobody told you, let me be the first to tell you. Because I don't care if you get mad at me. I still love you. And you can say what you want to say about me because at the end of the day, beginning of the day, I'm still going to be me, see? But just know I love you. But in all honesty, when we understand the truth and the nature of what God is trying to get out of us, what accompanies the truth that we reveal and that we give to other people, we have to be very aware that we don't mislead people and give people false hope, you know, and fantasy and all those things. So what he was just telling me just now, because I wasn't gearing towards social media, I was actually trying to figure out the movie that I called myself watching, but it was watching me. I was actually thinking because I just ate really, and I wanted to make sure my food digests before, because I had cooked some spaghettis. I had cooked some spaghettis. Oh, what spaghetti? What did I say? Spaghetti. And Came in here and I tried to find at least something that would halfway keep my attention because social media, movies, and stuff like that rarely keep my attention. It's literally it's watching me, not me watching it, and it has to be something so interesting to draw me into whatever it is that's. So anyway, um, the Lord was saying to me that sometimes we meet people and we have our own idea of what love is, what we want out of a companion. And we meet somebody that we feel that fits the narrative, that they have the potential to grow, the potential to become what we think they should be, or how the part that the role that. And thank you, baby, for the likes, shares, and subscribe. Forgive me because I don't really say it. I don't, you know. I just love y'all and I just appreciate you for showing up and I always express that love to you. So I really don't be on no likes and all that. But I thank God for y'all because it shows you appreciate and you just don't come to spectate. But he said to me that many times we formulate what we want in a partner, what we want in a spouse, and we allow the fantasy idea, which is potential, that we can see it arrive to, and we often get disappointed. He said, what is it that functions out of the place of you being disappointed when the potential you thought somebody don't arise to? He said it starts off with they don't have the capacity mm, to hold or to move into the narrative of where God is leading you, where you're going. So what happens is oftentimes we get we become discontent in the relationship. Oh yeah, because I can barely see this and I need to put it up here. We we become discontent, we become fussy, we become, you know, despondent to the partner that we thought that was going to elevate with us, when truly it's really not a fault. So a lot of things we hold for trauma, bitterness, strife, and all that with breakups, it really shouldn't be there because these are doors that we open through the lenses of fantasy, through the lenses of instead of not just doing paper research, but the research that said there was something that God showed you before you opened that door. There was something even during the first week, 2, 3 weeks. That's what it was. Y'all, in one of the videos, I meant to come back and because I noticed that I be shifting to so many things that sometimes I don't finish out what I be saying and I be trying to remember everything and come back and make sure that you got the whole understanding of what I said because sometimes I had to jump from one thing to another one. Remember when I told you about the guy online, I said that the Lord taught me something when I was talking to him. And what he showed me is he said, do you not know you establish? Listen very careful to what God said. Do you not know when you establish a relationship in the talking stage of your meeting that person within the first to the third week, you have now set this and established the foundation of your relationship. So you ever like dated somebody and then it comes something that y'all had to part and then or either something started happening in that cycle with that person and you just like, man, we were gonna get out of this. But it seemed like that cycle And whatever it is that initiated that bad cycle in your relationship, you had to wait, which would be the next cycle of that relationship, for it to be destroyed in order for y'all to move forward. And this where a lot of people get distorted. They it really rattles their cage because they can't really formulate why is that happening. And no matter how y'all apologize to each other, no matter how y'all try to fix it, y'all just keep repeating that same cycle. Y'all apologize, y'all bump heads again. Y'all apologize, y'all bump heads again. Y'all apologize, y'all bump heads. Because that is something that God seen where you was building on a false foundation. Y'all need to write this down. Where you was building on a false foundation, and anything that is built on a false foundation, God is going to tear it down. That's belief system, that's relationship, that's in family, friends, businesses, jobs, whatever. If you started out a business being uh, a scam or evil one or whatever, God is going to break the bottom out of that. Even if you change, if He has to reconstruct, just like if you get mildew mold in your home, what happens? Even with the insurance company and everything, they're going to tell you either they're going to have to tear it down to the foundation of the home and you're going to have to rebuild because you can't just go and just take out the drywall and siding and all that and think that you going no, because that mold is going to do what? It's going to resurface in that house, and it has the potential to make you sick and even KILLU. Okay, so spiritually, that's the same formula. That's the same thing happens on a spiritual basis when it comes to spiritual laws and things where we trespass and we do things. So this teaches us how important the revelation that God gives us and obedience, where God is guiding us in these things, where it is to forming relationships, giving us discipline and guidance on our life. So if you throw away the key and the resources that you have to help you function properly, this is what we get, a bunch of mess. We become a big mess. A big mess. And we don't want to be a big mess. Y'all should see my hair on the day when I just a big mess. Those are the days I'd be like, Lord Jesus, I don't feel like touching this, doing nothing and nothing. I'm glad I'm not married because he'll be looking like I look like Large Marge. Pee Wee Herman, them the lady, the truck driver. Large Marge, y'all. And she looked over at him and she was like, whoa. But no, I don't want to scare the man, Lord Jesus. Just kidding. But because even lately I ain't gonna even talk about it. It looked like a perm and a fro at the same time. Um, but this is what God wants you to know: whether or not people support you. We talk about all the all around statue of it. It could be the spouse, the friends, the family, the person. You might be disappointed that things didn't get to where you may have thought that it should be established to. For some reason that it didn't function or whatever. And most of the times when that happens, what happens? We leave this. Um, we go to the internet, and this is what happens. All of these formulated false opinions, fantasy, interactions and all these things. Well, some people at this point, it ain't even about a degree. Some people just ain't wise at all, and they just need to shut some of this stuff down on their podcasts and stuff. But hey, everybody got free will to do what they want to do. This is why God tells you to be disciplined, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, and understand. Everybody got a butthole, and everybody has an opinion. Okay, so that's why God does not. He know how to deal with those people, but in accountability, you're held accountable for what you ingest, for what you eat. And you can't eat at everybody's table. That's all we be trying to tell you, honey. Ain't nobody trying to run your life. You do, I guess you're doing well at that, whether you do good or bad. We all been there. So you don't get no judgment here. You're just as humble as you are. And just like I said, he rebuked me in that message. So like I tell y'all all the time, I don't come here and fake the phone with y'all and lie or whatever. But if you gonna have to, if you're gonna be here, I just warn you up front. I'm not gonna lie just because you want me to, or you want me to spare your feelings. I'm gonna give you the truth whether you like it or not. Because the Bible says speak the truth in love. So I just warn you up front. If you can't take the heat, you might as well get out of the kitchen. Because however God used me, however God bring it across, I don't have to be TD Jakes. I don't have to be somebody else's narrative of a preacher, evangelist, and nobody else. God formulated what he wanted for my life. I understand that now, and I'm not bewildered, and I'm not controlled by nobody church community and laws and rules in their church building and how they function. What I'm governed by is God's spirit and obedience to what he's established. So when I look at them, I can see just how well they done Eli and his sons. Yeah. So that's understanding, observing in love that I may understand through other people's mistakes how not to operate. So that don't mean that whatever, because I don't know what's coming. I don't know what may happen. I don't know whatever. I just have to follow life just like you do. The just shall live by what? Faith and not by sight. So you set yourself up for what you call failure when you go out and you receive fantasy tastic, you know, unbelievable weedings and all those things. And church seeing says to pimp and imp for money, to tell you what you want to hear and manipulate your feelings and your emotions about love when none of them are giving you any seeds to help you grow in life, to establish what it is that you're trying to accompany in your life to help you receive the blessing that you're waiting on and how to see God in it. Allow Him to reveal to you. So, yeah, everybody hopping on the thing now, especially coming through here. They repeat the same thing. Make sure you take this word back to God. And if you're really paying attention, and whenever they say that, and the next couple of verses you hear, they start talking about universe and all that, just know they undercover. They ain't church. They undercover tarot readers. And that ain't for you that I always talking about. You don't like when somebody talk about tarot readers. Ask me, do I care? That part. You don't like to hear about evil. You don't like to hear about wickedness and what you gonna hear that everywhere in life. You're a part of it if you live in it and anything else. Jesus Himself, even in the Lord's Prayer. So your weapons of warfare, because y'all like to put everything on spiritual warfare, and some things ain't spiritual warfare. Something is ignorance, spiritual ignorance, where you follow out things when you should have built a sound based foundation with the Lord, that you wouldn't have to be jumping and prostituting your gift and going from pillar to post and being hypocritical and being what they call it, committing spiritual whoredom, because that's all that is. Spirit natural. Because if you married to God and He telling you don't indulge and don't entertain these things, God is our Father. He said, I married, being committed to you. So there's a covenant there between you and God. You break covenant when you sin, when you walk in disobedience. So you trying to align something, a square peg in a hole that ain't gonna never fit, because God will never fit in with the wicked. And that's just period. You hear me time and time again explain to readers, whoever do divination, that I love you, but I'm still gonna tell you the truth. You welcome here, but I'm still gonna tell you the truth. Because the goal is that maybe you hear something in the word that will drive you back to God. And out of that mess you done found, talk about some practice. Because see, that's all doctors is. And now we seeing people have been practicing medicine for years and don't even have degrees, don't even have They lied about their schooling and all of that. That was very disturbing to see that on the news, where somebody been practicing doing surgeries and everything on people, and this doctor now has been called up out of 20 something years, 30 years or something like that. Yeah, who knows if he done operated on one of us, and you laying your gullible self up there with no faith and ain't prayed to God about who it is operating on you and stuff. This is what we be talking about. You be talking about naive and gullible, but you don't realize that you do these things every day, putting your life in other people's hands. And the same thing spiritually. You putting your spirit in the hands of other people when you go entertain. So that's just a little teaching nugget for you to get an idea why God challenges us, why He requires us certain things of us. Because he said, my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. My ways are higher than your ways. All this stuff, people swearing they know up and down God and how he operate and how he na 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 na. And yet, some of y'all don't even know y'all dwell with sicknesses and all kind of things. When go over there with um dang, as soon as I changed from it, I forgot the man name. Not Nebuchadnezzar. What the man name? That turned his face to the wall when he prayed. And that show you God can reverse any narrative situation, because the prophet was sent by God to tell him, your time is up, you finna die. But he bowed himself to the Lord. He ain't go seek a prophet, a divination worker, calling up the dead and all that. He went to God in prayer. See, a lot of y'all do this stuff trying to do what Adam and Eve did and cover your nakedness. Notice that they went from God covering them and them not knowing they was naked, the holy place. Oh, grace. Come on, somebody. To when God called them forth because they had done sinned, disobeyed God, what they did. So if they didn't know they was naked, how they went and found fig leaves to cover their private parts. See, that's why you got to be more than surface. That's why he said he revealed these mysteries. He revealed these things. That's the revelation and the clarity. That it's not just some story about a tree in the garden and an apple and two peoples. And when God get to using you, speaking you, and all that stuff, it provokes you to go more and more in His presence and to study the Word of God, because all of that is ooh, y'all. It's easy for people to form an addiction to everything else, but I noticed that when it come to God, when it come to church, and the reason why some of y'all don't like church is because you know that you're gonna be held accountable. That's it. That's why y'all formulated spirituality. Because all that means is you're not set apart and chosen by God for his use in the place that he's sanctifying you holy to administer to his people. Spirituality meaning I can be unruly, I can be a demon, a devil, and whatever I want to because I can formulate any beliefs and ideology, mysticals and mystics and cosmetic and all this other kind of stuff. And when you put it face to face with God's word, you'll see it's everything but holy and it's separate from God's presence because sin dwells there. All right. I don't want that to take over because we talk about relationships, but it still establishes the same foundation where we would have to. So those who live by their feelings judge the truth of God by their own condition. So if I ain't trying to get right, I ain't trying to change, I ain't trying to do nothing different, then of course I say, no, you can't be mature. No, you can't possibly think that you can be worthy of God and whatever. At the same time, you contradict yourself because you do call yourself gods, goddesses, mystics, all these things. Some of you literally say you're God. Ain't that something? But you find it hard to live holy, righteous, peaceable. That's what ain't that's the word of God. He say live peaceable as you can, as much that lies in you with all people. But you hate the church, so you just banish that. So ain't no way you gonna telling me you following God. You may be following a God, but definitely not this one. This one requires you to do some changing. This one requires you to sacrifice. And he ain't talk about burning no goddamn candles, which is evil and all that stuff on people. Because this journey requires you personal growth, not somebody else's business. Really, so cool. Baba. Shanadaba. So how you gonna give me a narrative and pour something into me that you don't even possess yourself? Your well just is empty, and the little water preserve that some of y'all do have, it's not worth drinking. It's poison. It's venomous. Why? Because everything come out your faucet has to do with strife, hate, debate, envious, jealousy, cussing people out, all this kind of stuff. Then the water in your fountain is unclean. The water in your fountain is poison. The water in your fountain is contaminated. It's not a pure fountain no more. Why? Because the source ain't God. Oh, now it makes sense. So you can be accurate all you want to. But if the source ain't God, it still makes you contaminated, evil. Just period. Break it on down with the pound down. So if you're gonna water somebody else's garden, because that's all we are, seed planters and sowers. You're gonna pour into other people's life. You need to understand the well that you pour from needs to be coming from a pure source, and that is God. When it does, the fruits of what's coming from that water, that source that you pulling from, your life should align. Well, the high perfect you believe you can and cannot be, your life should be aligning. You should be on that path to working towards, just like Paul said, you're pressing towards the prize of the mark of the high calling, which is what? In Christ Jesus. If all you formulate and come out with is self will and your own self and ideology, you don't have to be controlled by, you controlled by somebody regardless. The government, the authorities, the courts, the whole nine yards. Oh, you govern and rule. And that does not go away. The law in heaven ain't went away, as y'all want to toss it out in the New Testament, because Jesus became that law. Huh? Just like the chastisement of our peace, all that was nailed on the cross with him. And you still trying to fix something. Like you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jesus became sin. He became sin for us. All the penalty and the price that you should have paid. You can't even see that. Oh, we all have a past. Who is we? You. Because he told me he done throwed it in the sea of forgiveness to remember it no more. So the basis of is y'all like dead people. Dead things were meant to be buried. When something die, it stinks. It get maggots. It's no longer profitable to this life. Useful resources. It holds no more memory. It holds no more nothing. It goes back. What? Eventually, it turns back into dust. So it's no more resourceful to you, is it? It's done. It's over. And I'm gonna honestly tell y'all, I was sitting up and I was talking to the Lord today, and I was saying, God, I just really want you to answer me this. For somebody to give me a message from you and say this person saw you dancing and you was unaware. Big old title. And draw you into a message. And the first thing they say is, people never really accepted you, and you was the underdog, and people used you and they drug you. They didn't have respect for you or whatever. Some people, they could identify that, but this. And when you were you was so and so and so, this and that happened to you, your mom and dad or whatever. What that had to do with somebody got darn watching you dancing, you unawares? What they talk about happened when you was two. So you mean to tell me, for God to tell you somebody was watching you dance unaware and this is how they felt about you, he got to go all the way back to when you was two, and you wouldn't even hear 1% of what the title was of supposedly the person saw you dancing. Which I don't know why that would be so important that God would have to bring that to your attention. That how many people don't watch you dance without unawares. So just because somebody had a fascinating thought about you, I have to come and reveal the whole mind of that person just because they like that they saw you dance and they became interested in you. You mean to tell me sitting here? You mean to tell me out of all this revelation you giving me, God can't drop that to me? Let's even put it as you talking about intuition. So apparently, your intuition can alarm you of things around you, right? Far as a feeling of something, even if somebody's watching you. Somebody watching me, my hairs will stand up on my arms and stuff. I can feel it. Even when I'm asleep, I can feel it. There'll be certain stuff going on around and stuff like that. Gotta wake me right on up out of my sleep. So this just giving you an open, so you can hear it coming out of the mouth, and with the truth and the lie by standing by side, you can understand what it means to have discernment and not intuition. Okay? Be led by your intuition. Baby, you better be led by discernment. Because discernment will not only alarm you of what's going on around you, because it's connected to your intuition. Because it's spirit connect. Okay? Your intuition was a built-in alarm system, indicator, sends signals to your brain that says something ain't right in your body. But it does not tell you what's not right in your body. It just gives you an indication. You stump your toe, a sharp pain went there, or whatever. What discernment does, because it's the wisdom of God, it is His Spirit, and it can only be filtered and function through truth. So God, through discernment of the Spirit, He moves you from the intuition, baby, of a feeling and an emotion. He's the established truth, the foundation. So he reveals to you what is happening. And he gives you what? Clarity, understanding, and guidance in what you need to do about it. Go to the doctor, put some this there. He have even taught some of us. I delayed to testify in one of the last revivals that I was in, that where the doctors, ooh, I can't stand that. That's a confirmation, y'all, but I ate that spaghetti. That is not good, Lord. Come on, Jesus. Woo, that didn't feel good. She began to talk to us about, how expensive it was getting, but the doctors had told her that she had high blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. And she said she woke up one morning and she said, God, I ain't gonna make it like this. See, that's what us real folks. We don't go pick up no cards and all that kind of stuff. We know and understand, just like your parents sitting in another room. I ain't gonna say we call each other from the other room because we do that sometimes. You said copy of myself. It don't make no sense. We sitting up here in the same house and we calling each other from the room. But no, it's just like you need guidance advice. You call way or you go way to your friend, 2 cities away or whatever, to get the information that you need when the resources and of the wisdom that was needed was right there in the house. You possess that on the inside of you. He put his spirit in you for that purpose. Praise God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus was that priest. You no longer got to go find a Catholic church to confess all that. Seeing if they open, and even the government controls that, whether they can open their doors or not. Now you see, when you talk about bondage and captivity and Egypt, when Jesus came and freed you from all that and telling you, you don't have to go through that systematic mess no more and wait on the feast of weeks and all that kind of stuff, which the person that is dictating and giving guidance, that little blonde haired lady, with the church, giving guidance to your president, observing all those things so she can get the first fruit offerings and stuff like that and pimp money. And I'm pretty sure she's pimping more and more people because the president gonna only stay attached to people who funded his pockets. Okay, so just so we understand, so y'all can get wrapped up in all this deal stuff and all the stuff y'all want to, but I ain't gonna say nothing about it. I'm gonna let you see. Told you God gonna prove to you what is what and who is who. But you go ahead now with your little peace treaty. Uh, but God gonna reveal. Yeah. So I ain't saying nothing bad about the president. I'm just telling you, you better pay attention. Keep your eyes open. That thing called illusion. Sometimes God sends certain words through certain people, and when they know you ain't no joking, ain't nothing to play with. Now read between the lines. When it get back to the head, they understand because they still have a certain reverence for God. You hear? That's what happened with Pharaoh when Moses was sent to Pharaoh. Remember, he went 3 times and petitioned Pharaoh before God moved upon Pharaoh's heart. So you see, it ain't got nothing to do with witchcraft and none of that. Y'all fall into so many lies and deceptions, illusions of the enemy. God say, I rule in the hearts and minds of men, and I turn them whichsoever way I will. Good and evil. So you see how easy the devil will come in and get and put his theology, mythology there, and then stamp witchcraft on it and spells and all that. Now you're supposed to be a puppet. God didn't even create you a puppet because he created you with free will. But you believe some natural person, human being like you, have enough power of mental power over you I'm sorry. I ain't sorry. To go and sprinkle some dust somewhere and make you do all the do you can you imagine what that would look like if it were so? Now, according to their stuff, you'll be dead right now because these people, according to them, it ain't never good. They talk to you about love, new love, and all that. All you gonna hear is somebody setting a trap for you, and they know that because they don't went to the psychic and the tarot reader and all that, and they already know that you have somebody coming in with you. You got several suitors. Why you see the enemy being fed to the information being fed to the enemy, and you say that that's God? Ooh, y'all cannot believe to be that naive. Because if God already see it, it's already been orchestrated, which he always still gonna use it to prove that he is God. So whatever which endo, see, that was in the Bible. She was took out. So was Jezebel. But have y'all ever sat there and read Jezebel in and what happened to her? Because the same thing she had done to the man of God with him being beheaded, she did she commit suicide? Jumping out the window or whatever the case may be. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get this one right here. What was the end of Jezebel in the Bible? King James Version. Okay. Ra-ma-ma-ma-ma. I don't know how we got here, y'all, but hey, but I'm finna after this jump right back into the message because I want you to hear that. I really, but that's because it be y'all. Yeah, I know what it is. Y'all be coming up in here, and God have to expose whatever it is. So don't get mad at me. I had a whole nice little conversation with y'all. Um, word from God that entails relationships on founding and building relationships, healthy relationships, and how not to undermine the work of the Lord when He's accompanied in your decision making for a spouse, and to teach you how to look at things and don't leave something traumatized and burdened and crying over spilled milk, and how you carrying things in a breakup that God didn't mean for you to do. He allows certain things to get our attention and teach and test us so we learn these lessons. So therefore, the next thing that approach you, you will be able to identify what is true and what is fake. So Jezebel and the gruesome violent event, her demise, fulfilled the prophecy of Elijah. See, foreknew, foreknew. It was already prophesied. So it didn't take for them to go to a divination worker, somebody vexed with a demon, because that's exactly the girl that was vexed, the girl that met Paul them on their journey. He said she was vexed with the spirit of divination, a demon. That's what that is. And she even tried to prophesy to the men of God that was in church. Ain't that something? They was on their way to church when they met her. Woo! And Satan has his seat in the church. Wonder how he got in there. Huh? Uh-huh. See, they bet on you being ignorant. Because if you don't know the word, you know how to determine, you know how to determine good and evil, what you feel for yourself. Ain't no way you gonna be free. And you gonna learn how to operate in these things. Therefore, you're gonna keep repeating cycles. Not breaking generational curses, but you're gonna keep repeating cycles. That's being a habitual offender, like people habitually offend when it comes to violating the law. Well, the same thing is spiritually when it comes to God. You're a repeat offender. Keep backsliding, you keep lying, you keep this, and you keep that, and you think you're hiding and all that. Repeat offender. And some people like it. So in no sense to arguing with folks, some people like what they do. Even though they know that they being evil. Oh, confirmation. I'm so sorry, y'all. Confirmation. Oh, oh, I don't like that. Jezebel Inn is a gruesome, violent event. Her demise is fulfilled in the prophecy of Elijah. So what the man of God spoke, it had to come to pass because it came from God. God already see, he foreknew, he knows, he sees all. And he shall do nothing except I what? Reveal it to my prophet. So tell me how you get predictions and presumptuous prophets that come from the church end for all this stuff that they saying that do not come to pass. And they try to explain it away. How God gonna tell you that we gonna have this gonna be a woman president when we full well knew before even when the stuff was going on in the first place that it was gonna be a man president. God cannot lie. His spirit cannot lie. So ain't no way you speaking something out your mouth, a bunch of garbage, a bunch of venomous and enviousness and bitterness and all that stuff towards other people because his spirit lives inside of you, which is the truth. So tell me how you still lie and okay with it. See, before we ever go correcting other people and teaching other people, it's very important that we get this here right. I am a man. So that's what we're working on here is the truth, the innermost part. You got down pat. Y'all know how to dress. Y'all know how to look good. Y'all know how to smell good. But what God trying to get us to, now we need, well, that should have been happening first. Because the beauty on the inside gonna always shine brighter than any materials that we wear. That we wear only enhances the beauty on the inside of us. This looks like a man meeting a woman. On the outside, she's gorgeous. She wearing Estee Lauder, she wearing Pimpin' Imp and all that kind of stuff. She got $2,000 bag, you know how y'all get down. And it ain't got to be all that. But anyway, for everybody to have understanding. But when he started getting to know her, he said, "This ain't what I thought at all. She just as rotten as a dozen of spoiled, rotten eggs on the inside." And the man can't stand her. Why? Because she was able to dress and have a heart out of shell. But what comes out of an egg? See? Her yolk had done got spoiled. That's called the membrane, ain't it? Of the egg. Beyond that thin lining that connects on the inside of that, where that shell is, the core. So God watches the heart, the inward man, the soul. Come on, somebody. All right, let's go. Her demise fulfilled the prophecy of Elijah that dogs would eat her flesh, huh, and the plot of the ground at the plot of the ground of Jezebel. The dramatic final sequel is detailed in 2 Kings 9, 9th chapter, through 37, 30 through 37. Second Kings, the ninth chapter, verses 30 through 37. And let me hurry up because this thing is about to, and it's already overheating. So the confrontation, when the usward Jehu arrived in Jezebel queen. Jezebel painted her eyes. Look, she went and put on makeup. So y'all be getting mad, but I told you, you know what that be? Tell me to say that just means that that because the cards don't lie. So if you get offended and then, so either no, this right here is that mirror that is put in front of you. And when I mention something about makeup or any preacher or whatever, or dreads and all that stuff, you know why it pricks you? Because the Holy Spirit come with conviction. The word convicts us all. That's why he said it'll find you out. And he says what? Like a hammer. All these things have to be reversed, denounced. All these things, those false foundations, falsehoods, and all that they must be destroyed. They cannot stand. The truth must prevail. See that? The truth of God. But they wait to you messages by their own condition. You see, no matter what my condition is, I still convey to you the what? The truth. Because God gonna work on my condition. But I can't help neither one of us if I don't stand in the truth that it may change both of our conditions and our position if need be. So whatever you gleaning from, whatever you listening to, whatever you watching and whatever you hearing and all of that, you become just as perverted, nasty, or whatever unclean as they are. So if they bitter, nasty, envious, hatred, and all that kind of stuff, that's what you're gonna end up. That's how you're gonna end up. So to keep from crossing over into that, you have to be mindful of your heart. Be mindful of what you see, the signals that you send out, but also be mindful. And that's real funny, y'all. You know what I well, I'm gonna tell y'all my grandbabies, but they don't call me grandma, they call me Nana. You know who they say I look like, y'all? And my granddaughter put the things side by side because when she said it, I had no idea who Joy was. Y'all watch cartoons with y'all kids and stuff. Y'all know what who Joy is. And I still have yet to go and really find out the character Joy and who she really is. But I did see something funny on the internet when she was saying, um, they said they didn't say they call her crazy or something. Something they said to her. And she said, and because you people and y'all expect me to be sane around you people that and that just made I just fell out laughing. I said, oh my God. But she said, Nana, you so pretty. She said, you look like Joy. I said, well, I thought she was talking about spiritual, but she was talking about spiritually, but she was talking about the character Joy. So she put on the bottom of this picture is the Joy, but I took it down from there. Um, and she said, and I said, I will find it hard to believe because I rarely see people who look like me. I'm serious. You know how they say everybody have a twin or look alike or something around the world or something like that. I generally don't get that. I get a lot of people trying to fake it till they make it and be me and steal my, the way I do things and all that. But my features and what I look like, that's rare. That's real rare. And I ain't saying that I'm all that or whatever. I'm just saying I just haven't seen it. You hear that train? But anyway, she said, Nana, Joy. But when I heard joy, it spoke volumes. And what I was able to see in the character behind Joy. And notice the wig, the pixie cut. And she was hanging upside down. And I was like, wait a minute now, we getting deep. Y'all see me upside down? And she was like, no, Nana, that's not so you know what? When I get out here, I'm gonna go find out what that thing is by Joy. But apparently, it was fascinating to me that to find out that the character with the blue hair, and that's on my what that thing is, Cash App. That's why I put it on there, y'all, because of my grandbaby. Of when she had this conversation with me, because it was a full fledged conversation, okay? And I was like, "Who is Joy? What character? Cartoon character?" But it was hilarious. It would take you to hear her sitting down talking to me. She just thought she run me and thought she was grown. She just tell me, and she'll come in there and I'm doing my hair. It's fascinating to her if I'm sitting somewhere with my hair and I have it up or braided and put it in a thing and it looked like it's just. But when she first met me, when I went to visit them, when she first met me, she just stared and she got up under me and she just snuggled up under me the whole time, the whole ride through Texas and all that. And I was like, I was so. But I mean, she scooted all them other girls. She scooted all the other grandbabies, y'all. And she was like, she owned me. This is my nana. And even they had the mama and the daddy, they was trying to get her to come in there. And she, you ain't supposed to. And then they had told me that was stop me right there because they told me she peed in bed. But guess what? She was peeing in bed. But when I came, do you know that now time that she was in bed with me, that she peed in bed, she actually got up and used the bathroom. I didn't even have to wake her. But I did make sure that I let her empty out her bladder and stuff. But I'm a night owl. So at night, and so before I go to bed or something like that, I might nudge her and ask her to go tinker and then come on and lay back down or something like that. But not often. I didn't have to do that to her. And they just couldn't believe it. Like, but it was just like heaven, her little safe place. And every time I go to do something, I do. How old the girl was? 4? She was 4 or 5. And she said, no, Nana, that's not how you do it. See, Nana, you're supposed to do it like this. So one day I was in there and it just, if y'all could have seen her face, the whole time I was sitting there, I had the thing that I have, like a turban thing, like I got covered my head now because I'm ministering. Um, I had my head covered or whatever. And the whole time she was sitting up there, and I guess she was like wondering, like, but she was looking at me like, you don't look like my nana. You look like my mama's sister or something. She just had these little, she just come in there and she just stare at me. So she'll come and she'll have all these conversations with me. And one day we was getting ready to go, and she came and she stood by the bathroom door and she just watched me. So I took the thing off my head and I removed the hairpin, and my hair fell down. And she noticed, she's like, oh my goodness. It went past Nana's shoulder. And she looked again. So she ran in there and she says, Mom, how come your hair's not like Nana? Wait. She said, 'cause she was looking like something wrong with it. So my daughter yelled from the other room. She said, Ma, can you tell them, don't you have a picture of me when my hair was way down my back? I say, no, sister, you arguing with my grandbabies about your hair being down your back when you want to go out here and look like one of these aliens that be out the movies, like the Hollywood, what the Will Smith, the wife, Jada Pinkett, and what to take my Braxton and sister, whatever. I was just teasing her, y'all. But I said, cause she didn't cut her hair like that, cause I don't know. I probably would have. Ooh. But she did cut her hair, and on here I don't feel like going through that. But I can show y'all through all those generations. The third oldest hair always been longer than mine. Her hair reached always right above her butt. She went, cut her hair, and now she have dreads. That one, the oldest one, she came out with a head full of pretty, beautiful, curly hair. Like, ugh. And oh my goodness, by the time she was one, the picture that I showed y'all in there, with my mama thing is, with the beads and stuff, she wasn't, I had took her to take those pictures when she was fit to turn one for her birthday. That baby, by the time my baby was 5 months old, I was already braiding her hair down and putting beads in her hair. That's what everybody knew us for because she had these little pretty beads and the little bows, head full of bows and stuff like that in her head. And she was just always little Miss Prissy. Uh, by the time she was like 6 months, 6 to 9 months. I bought her a ring to gold ring to go on her finger. Then I started getting her the little bangles. So she was like little Miss. I call her Queen. I call the second oldest my princess, but the queen, that's the one, the first oldest, because it was just me and her for a long time. And she still acts like that till today. She territorial by her mama. And actually she did call me and talk to me earlier. But we like oil and water, y'all. We like oil and water. But that's my big baby. All right. But anyway, I would just say, and I did do some recordings, I think it was, to hear some of the conversations with my grandbaby just to keep them for my memory. Because it was just so funny to me that she read it and she said to her mama, something ain't right. But I told her, I said, that's why y'all have all that hair and stuff like that. And I was just, telling them because they want to know the history. Going off like it, going off like it, or whatever. So anyway, I didn't put that to leave it there, but I have to now transition my videos where there's an image of me because you already know they be trying to cover stuff up or whatever. But that's the way God told me to do it. In translation and what I'm putting up here for y'all or whatever, that's why I be trying to do it in that manner. Okay? So this has nothing to do with whatever, but you should know who you're talking to anyway, right? But just so you know, when these people be out here stealing my images and my videos and stuff, then you got the heads up that you'll know who it is and how I operate. Okay, so you be seeing these videos all cut up and all this kind of stuff. Mm-mm. So okay, this is what we're looking for because that's what we finna go to. That's what we finna go to so we can hurry up. All right. When relationships is concerned. So, all right, we still on here. We got a couple left on there. So the confirmation, what happened with her Jezebel, she painted her eyes. She immediately went to put on, she was a queen, powerful woman, Jezebel, which is a spirit. Anyways, when we talk about the spirit of Jezebel, um, she was in royal attire, so apparently she knew how to dress. She wore fine clothing and all that. See, uh, she taunted him as he entered. And ain't that what they do? When I first started seeing, I'm gonna go on from that because I don't even want to talk about it. Lord, I don't want to talk about it. So the fall, Jehu looked up, Jehu looked up and commanded the palace eunuchs to throw her down. Look, they put hands on them. And y'all always talk about the word of God say this the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, but the violence taken by force. And y'all be sitting up here acting like we supposed to be nick back, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, let somebody run all over you spiritually and naturally. Oh no, that ain't God's way, that ain't Jesus' way. But you supposed to and turn the other cheek and you supposed to it say the eunuchs, they supposed to be men of God. He said, put her hands on her, throw her down. Take her up out of here. And they complied. They did what was told to them. Ah! And she fell. What you say? Splattering her blood. So the men of God took her out. What you say? Ooh, some of y'all finna go read that. Look. Yes, sir. See, God ain't nothing to play with. Y'all be thinking everything a game. It's not a game. You see that? So they threw her down. She fell, splattering her blood on the wall. Look at that. They bashed her and on the horses that trampled her underfoot. What you say? So her body was devoured after eating and drinking. Jehu ordered a burial for her as a king's daughter. What you say? However, when his men went to bury her, they found that stray dogs had eaten almost everything. That's how God deal with witches. Say, suffer the witch not to live. You call it violent, you call it hatred, you call it judgmental Christians, you call it that, but God said he won't tolerate them being amongst his people. What you say? So with their disobedient, detached self, they go formulate spirituality to convince you and try to make you think when God is not in division anyway. He told the church to be knit together in love and move in unity, togetherness. All that mess that be going on in the church or whatever, he did say certain things because with Eli's sons, they were not saved. And a host of other things you'll read that happened and went on. So Jesus corrected them when he needed to as disciples that was amongst him. When they start thinking wrong, when they start whispering and gossiping and all that, he brought correction. So did Paul. Making it make sense. So a reminder, only her skull, what you say? Only her skull, feet, and the palms of her hand. What? Palm readers? Her skull. What you say? The things that identify us. Look at that. Look at that. Yay! You gonna run around here talk about she and Ed. God said, yeah, we got this. Her skull, her feet, and the palms of her hands were left. So they totally almost demolished her. She was devoured by dogs. Dogs. Didn't I tell you how God see dogs that return to their vomit? But that's what I say. Y'all formulate through y'all traditions and y'all dictionaries and all that, coming from a societal perspective. When God's definition is something totally different. Now tell me my dog is my best friend and they going to heaven and they go to heaven with some people. And you over here with a Cujo. You ain't expect them to ever gnaw and gnaw your children and all that. And one day you're in the news and you crying about, a Cujo, a spirit that got the Cujo because every demon need a place to go. So because they have spirits too, which are, and I was looking at that with these bad life people and all that. Some of these people, when I say now I see why some of these children, I mean, ooh, why is there children? Some of these, some of these, and we're gonna still say this: nothing was having comes easy. In life, we have to learn how to what? Roll with the punches. You can get with it or you can get left. Amen. So I want to do that just in case it start cutting the food and I have to put it on the thing so we'll already have the background there. But we're gonna follow along from the consistency and then the other screen we had up and to this screen. So that way we can end it broadcast out with that. Okay. So he had me to go and look up couples and this the ones that came up and he told me which ones to pick. And that's how I came up with that. So it didn't have no direction towards nobody else. And I just told y'all all I've been hearing in the spirit today. So whether any other preacher do that, that's their business. I'm Natalie. And I don't need nobody else to convince me that he called me, he chose me, he qualified me, and he sent me, ordained by God. Nobody had me nothing, preachers and all that. And if they didn't like me then, why should I care about them liking me now? Just keep watching and keep looking because you sure ain't finna like what God got to do. But your dislike, okay? No fear, baby. So anyway, I dwell in love. We understand that her skull, her feet, and the palms of her hand was left. It was fulfilled by the word of the Lord, leaving her corpus as dung, and that is boo boo. That's SH, you know what, T. That upon the face of the field. So that's how God feel about witches, warlocks, spells, all this stuff y'all talk about, repetitiousness and astrology and all that. That's how God deal with that. He discards it. He don't want nothing to. It's just that filthy. When He said abomination, if you really read how God felt about that, look at that. And you be the main ones hopping on top of the roof, talking like God don't do that. And what kind of God would y'all serve? He did what He did do something like that or whatever. So you get mad if somebody unalive one of your family members, your children, or something like that. You want to go to court and you want to put on false faith, like they did with the little girl, what that boy Jarvis them, and all of them played their little role in the court or whatever, when all of them should have been locked up with him. That part. Sad. And yes, because her grandmama was supposed to be in the church. And I had a godmama who she remind me of. So I know that some of y'all ain't lying about her. Because God confirmed it when I looked at her. And I don't care how old she is. She played just as much part in that little girl's death and them old ugly twins that she had. The whole story is unbelievable. That how his little ugly self would be sleeping with something look like that anyway. And even after him unaliving your niece and you knowing what he did, I'm telling you, them people had their hand in it. They weren't clueless to what happened. And I bet you that boy Jarvis, y'all, and I'm not taking up for him, but he definitely left here with the truth. They put that monster, that auntie with her nasty garbage pail, looking like one of them ugly angry birds with some finger waves and all that. Talk about what they suffered on the internet. You ain't suffered nothing, and your children still living. Your children, even from his dirty, nasty tail. Anytime a man will sit up there and touch his own kids, and your nasty, dusty tail show up somewhere, like y'all supposed to be caretakers, she would have been better in the hands of the mama being on drugs than to be in some nasty filth like that. And that's including the nasty grandmama in church. You will turn your head and you will turn your eye. I know they'll do it because I came up around people who raised me who did the same thing. One of my grandmas beat her own husband. I was in a full cast. I don't know if mama went all the way to sleep yet because I was hearing the podcast in there. But everybody else was in the other house. My grandma had this big old house. Big, big, huge, like the little house on the Perry house. But it had all those rooms in there. And the man she was married to, which would be supposed to be our granddaddy, he he used to get drunk all the time. Now I heard stories from my cousin them and stuff like that or whatever, but he just always used to stare at me. He ain't used to touch me. I guess he spent that time trying to figure out if he touched me or whatever, would I say something? But here the opportunity presents itself. I'm a helpless child, a vulnerable child. Oh, come on. Hold on now. This thing tripping. This thing not charging. What in the world? All right, hopefully that'll, I don't know. But anyway, well, he's so ugly. So he was one ugly man. I don't even see what she, that man was ugly. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. He was ugly. He was oogly. He was oogly, oh, and nasty. So she had all them, she had at least, I don't know, five, between 5 and 8 rooms in the house. Um, and then they had like it was like a upstairs and a downstairs to it. He waited till all of them was in there, my cousins and all that stuff, and my mama wasn't paying attention. So by me being in a body cast, confirmation, they all had to carry me around. So mama them went and placed me in my grandmother's room on her bed, and he came in there without them noticing, and he was walking up to me, and something told me to start yelling for my grandma, and he was telling me, "Shh, be quiet, shh, don't do that, don't do that." And that some say call your grandmama even more, and I kept on, and it got her attention. So my grandmama, see, that's the one that didn't play. She ain't the one that raised me, but she was the other grandmama. Um, and my grandma Ola came in that baby, and she said, "What did you call yourself doing?" She said, "You better not ever get it in your mind to touch her." And she grabbed that thing. It wasn't a broom. It was something like a metal thing, like a baseball bat. And she went to wailing on his tail. She beat that Negro as should. You walk in on one of these Negroes touching your children, and it shouldn't be no law against it for you to take that sucker up out of here. Because if you that nasty and trifling, and especially your own children, that shouldn't be no law to keep somebody for taking you up out of here. They throw you in prison and let them prisoners have their way with you. They should just go head on. Let them mamas and them daddies or whatever that y'all done abuse their kids like that go on and get rid of your nasty dog. Anyway, let me go. I'm telling you that I ain't apologizing. That's my passion. That's some ooh. Mm. Boy, let me move on from that. I don't even be playing. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. These little children didn't ask to be here and it's so nasty. Ooh. All these women around here, including prostitutes, and you got to go mess with somebody's children. That's the lowest form of scum to me, walking this earth, sitting around praying on people's children. Anyway, where we was, y'all? See, um, where we was. Oh, as he said, don't. get upset. Thank you, babe. I love you. Um, don't be upset when or if it requires you guys to separate. Instead of holding these bad emotions and feelings and things like that, God wants you to see why. He wanted to say thank God for what didn't happen. Because people just feel like where breakup is concerned, or for somebody to say they can't handle something and walk away, instead of you being, it may hurt you to hear the words from them that they don't find you as their spouse and they still seeking for something else. But would you, I mean, okay. But y'all, I mean, some people really just go, it's just crazy. Instead of honoring that the person even cared enough not to just disappear from your life, but they came and had a conversation with you. Baby, I think we at the peak of our relationship. I don't think this is gonna work no more. And even I know this might hurt you. It might be your desire to wanna try to make it work, but it's not in me. Or this will just it's just not what I want to do. Because that person still has that ability, that right. And no, it does not feel good. But what happens? Because oftentimes when that do happen, and that's why people do the things they do, like ghosting and all that, because those conversations will shift. You ever got one up on a man or something like that? I'm gonna just say it like that because this is what the data was who do that. Men think they so funny that if you ever had an argument with them or you said something or whatever, and at the point they didn't have a comeback for it or whatever, but then you got him because you like you did so no 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 blah 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 blah. He know it. It pricked his conscience. So what is called flip the blame game, flip the Jesus, what is called? Shift the blame or whatever. And see, he'll walk around the whole time, then he'll figure something out. You can do one little thing, or he can remember it. Oh, don't let him be talking to one of his partners. They gonna tell somebody to get back at you. And then y'all mess around, and then you figure it out as a result of y'all have a heated argument or something. And he learned how to shift the blame back on you. Now you carrying And couples fight like that all the time. You'll be surprised. But like I said, I respect, and it says a lot about a person that will actually come to you and say, "Look, there may be even some things that I can't say to you, or some things that might be out of my control, but at least I'll give you that much, and I'm not gonna leave you in the blind or leave you waiting." Or leave you and try to lead you on why I'm doing what I'm doing or whatever. And just be honest and say just plainly it's not gonna work. Regardless of whether he ever explained anything out. So you carrying all this stuff talking about you need closure. You need, to just talk to them again. You just need to all that right there. Ain't nobody dragging you through nothing. You dragging yourself through that. Instead of you understanding however which way they walked away and they went about it, it speaks volumes about who that is. So thank God. And your luck is star. Look. Thank God. Because if he'll treat you that way, whether he was mature enough at the time and how he dealt with it or whatever, and when that sucker try to make a U-turn and come back around, talk about they want to reconcile some things or whatever, you better make sure it's God. I don't know about you, I can't tell you what to do, but for me, let the dough hit you where the good Lord split you. Don't backtrack, don't circle back, don't reflect back. Wipe me completely out your memories. Stay your dusty busty wherever you are. I ain't looked you up. I ain't searching for you. I don't have no emotions, feelings attached to whatever it was. The whole definition of was past tense. When I leave somebody, you no longer exist to me. That's me. You can glue your mind and have tarot readers to say what they want to say. Y'all with that mind reading stupid stuff. See, that's why I say it's a big difference when you hear it from the horse's mouth, ain't it? They can get out there and spit all that and all that narrative, and all the readers go do is pull out all somebody else's thoughts, and it's one sided. Or somebody viewed you as you was gullible, you loved it, or whatever. That don't make that be what that person is. You reading their thoughts, and somebody thoughts of you don't mean that that's the fact and evidence of who you are. That's how they perceive you, and according to they unhealed, dusty, broke down self. Most of the people who view people like that, they have good people in relationships, and they do that to try to make themselves feel good because they know they broke down themselves, hiding behind jewelry and clothes and money. And most of them ain't gonna stick around you when you good enough, unless you just allow them to just use you and get what they want out of you. But when a man is right for you and he is ready, he'll accompany everything that you are, and you will compliment the same way with him. And whatever it is, it might hurt his feelings that you might share something with him in a conversation, maybe something you don't like or something like that or whatever. At first, because he might not be used to sitting down having most of them not communication time. And that's what we had. What the thing was consistency. You want somebody who's consistent with you. Not you feel this way about me one day and the next day you don't know how you feel. You feel one day that you want to approach me and the next day you don't. And all that. Even God say a double-minded man is unstable. Is that not the word of God? So you see how the guidance of God's word can help you. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So what's the difference within these men's online telling you? It does not take ooh, like that. It does not take a man to date you 12 years and figure out all of a sudden now he want to marry you. Uh-uh. That sucker knew. So then I just tell you, God said the foundation within the first 3 weeks of your relationship, you already established that. So if you tolerated a lie, if you tolerated him still staying on the dating site, dating other people, because all these are forms of cheating, deception, and manipulation. And any of those things is witchcraft in the Bible. So you deal with divination that those people do. Many of y'all don't understand that that's all that is. But they'll put it to try to place, and that's what the enemy does. Because the more somebody keep telling you and put that in your mind, somebody casting spells at you, and you don't know they siphoning your energy because they sitting up there all day wishing bad on you and the evil eye and all this kind of stuff. You know what's happening every day when you click onto them videos and you watching that stuff hours and hours and hours of that, and you don't know how to combat the enemy and drive that stuff out, and they be doing all that acting like, oh, and holy angel spirit guys and all these other forms of entities and all that they have to call on just to pray when God just said talk to him. To that part. That's the psych me out part. Because I'm looking at you like you crazy at this point. Even God didn't tell us we had to call through all of those different things. And you got to call to all these different spirits to tell me something that God said. And you ain't even calling his name. You got all these entities attached in different spirits because all of them have a name. When Jesus went to cast out the devil, what he said? He spoke to that devil and said, tell me your name. And they say, we are legions, meaning many. That part. So he cast them out by name. So what you don't know, the Holy Spirit will reveal it to you of what manner of demon it is that you're dealing with. So you know properly how to cast out that devil. Oh, that denounce you in the name of Jesus. What you denouncing? All y'all do is war against one another. What are you denouncing? Who are you denouncing? Y'all make these songs and project them at the church. So that right there tell me there's no honor in what you do. Because God knows He looks at the heart. Remember, you like to spread that verse, so let's be honest about it. If God look at the heart and He know that your heart is filthy, and you made this song to project it or to prove something to the church about your behavior, which is displeasing to God at that. So how do you think you're doing the work of the Lord and He's going to honor that? No, just a nugget. I still love you. So you can sing till you swing off the fields of the end of the earth. God bless you. And the reward is with you. Because He said we all gonna be judged by what? The works we do. Alright? So I ain't telling you to go to hell. I ain't trying to toss you in hell nowhere. I'm trying to teach you. And hopefully you gain the wisdom that you don't have to accompany such. Because it ain't my thoughts and desires that none of us be lost and end up in hell. That's the whole purpose. Oh, so peace be with you, honey. Peace be with you. All right? And this is why it's so hard for me. Because y'all have been dealing with this stuff. Hold on. Here. When I come on here to minister to y'all, it becomes very weighty because y'all done dealt with this and y'all still carrying bitterness, church hurt, and all this kind of stuff. So when somebody has a genuine heart and peaceable spirit, all y'all do is bring chaos and conflict. Even David said in Psalms, I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. But he was a warrior too, remember that. So, baby, I'm definitely a warrior and a soldier, so you can bring it. But I don't know if you're gonna like this heat. Like Mother say, peace be still. This Pete got some heat, and I don't think you want this. All right. So we already did this thing. We can get off this one. Where Jezebel is concerned. I just wanted to bring that out to y'all and show y'all because y'all think it's a whole thing about denominations and all this kind of stuff that God is not in that mess. Not at all. Fighting and warring. He said, don't let these things be labeled amongst you as becoming believers. So see, this stuff you brought with you out that world. And because y'all don't want to change, y'all don't want to let the word come in and break this stuff down and wash y'all. Because you're too busy not want to buck against wanting to buck against authority and all that. So don't be making things hard for yourself and then want to blame the church. You did that to your own self. So that man that I was telling y'all about, and I can't pick the phone up, but y'all can look it up yourself. His name with the cigar. Remember we was talking about that? George Burns. I knew it was something. Remember he had the show back in the day, but that's his name, George Burns. George Burns. He was the old white comedian that I was telling y'all about. All right, I went on ahead and addressed that so I can close out this tab because y'all don't. If y'all see my phone, it probably give y'all a headache. And three consecutively, that phone that we own, that's why the thing be shutting off like that. There's no room for nothing, and I'm almost there with with the two new. I heard one of my daughters is saying, and she said it on her breath, I'm going to get her another phone. But these new, these right here, new, and this, what is they? That little thing, I've been carrying this thing for a long. I wouldn't even use it. And my granddaughter finally said, Nana, you have all the good, the best of stuff, and you won't hear it. So then when I started, I was like, That screen too small. What I'm gonna do with it? Oh, look at it. Now I got so much stuff in it. Naturally, I have so much stuff in this stuff that it's just, and it's a lot of messages. That's why I say I don't need to go, and I don't understand that these people have the same gifts and all of that. So what is the stealing about? What is the, oh, if I move that thing next time, if I remember the next time, I'm gonna open up my tabs and my phone right here with y'all. I'd rather do it now that I thought about it, so you don't say, "Oh, she had time to take stuff out of there." No, all you gonna see in my phone, you don't even see pictures of me. All you see is words. All you see is cooking stuff and words about God. Even like you don't even, I don't even have a lot of pictures of my family members and stuff on here. When they do pictures and stuff like that, or they send it through the messages, that's where it sit there. I don't even download it into my phone or whatever. It sit there. And if I do, I just put it back in the thing or whatever. But all the stuff you look at, most people they got this and that and that. But you open up the tabs in my phone that will go out, and that's why I say investigators or anything, bring it on. Come to the door. I hand all these devices right to you. You will never see me going to these none of these people that be doing this trolling, these psychics and these church folks and these people with these conspiracies and all that. I don't follow none of their pages. I don't be into none of that stuff. I don't have time for that drama. What I want to be contaminated by that crap for? I have enough to deal with on a daily day basis in my own life without being with all that. I don't be having time for that. Maybe y'all do, but I don't. Especially people who call themselves people of God. That part, believers. It's crazy. So I'd rather just not be around people if it's got to be all that. It's not all that old crazy stuff. I don't have time for. Is a no. What was I doing? Oh, I think I had the wrong phone in my hand. All right, y'all. We finna close. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think I covered it pretty much. I think I did. I covered it all. Um, he called out somebody's name to me, but and there it is again. Jalen, or somebody name start with a J. And the other day when I was on here praying, I said I just felt somebody in their emotions and they was crying and all of that. I'm prophesying. Don't miss this. Um, and God said to me, He said the reason why I didn't let you go into the prophetic concerning this person, the person that you heard, I mean that you felt that was emotional, it's because they know that they've done wrong. And God said that even the forgiveness that you're looking for, that person had already closed that door and that space in their heart. They forgive you, but they have moved totally on. And for you to finally approach and apologize, God said because you rebelled. And how you gonna know this is you? I'm hearing God telling me that you said before you apologize or before you reveal what y'all did, because y'all think that that person don't know what y'all did. And you come here and you watch me just to see if I'm gonna mention, do I know you was a part of what happened? God says yes. She knows. And he do too. And that's why. Don't nobody need to put no spells, curses, and hexes and all that on you. You brought that on yourself. And when God gave you the space, like he did with Jezebel, to repent, you did not. Now that you're facing all these things, I heard health issues just now. Uh-oh. I'm trying to. Oh wow! Somebody just went in there. hmm God said, "Ain't no devil did it. He did it because you cursed his woman of God." And if it was a person that I was in a relationship with, God knows with everybody that I was with, I did my thing. It ain't that I ain't make no mistakes along the way, but they didn't have issues that they had on the outside. And a lot of things that I shouldn't have let slip, I let slip. So that's why I be telling y'all, when it comes to certain things and you think that God won't avenge you, that God won't because you belong to God, what kind of God, what kind of daddy would he be? Oh yeah. What's the day? Happy Father's Day, guys. Happy Father's Day. Woo, 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 woo. All you men, I apologize. You, that goes to show you ain't got no spouse. Sorry. But I don't know. I don't even keep up with Mother's Day to tell you the honest truth. I did get on here and tell y'all that. The only reason I knew it was Mother's Day because of one of my children. And she was asking me, Mom, what are your plans? What are you gonna do? Mom. And I know they was getting the plot and plan. And I said, nope, 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 nope. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't care about flowers right now. I don't want to do any of that. And my hair is not done the way I want it to be done. None of that. They changed everything. I don't know what is what in this place anymore. So I got to relearn everything all over again and finally get to that place that I'm the way I like to step out, the way I want to step out. And sometimes I think they don't get it. So even though I fix myself up, but still, there's certain things that I be wanting and things that I want to. You see what I mean? But they just want you to get up and go when they say go. Okay, so I get it because they love me. But you ain't gonna just be straggling me around when I'm in the mood to be a certain to be a certain way or whatever the case would be. Um, because I like to switch it up, even though I have naturally long hair. I like to switch it up. Y'all see those pictures where I like shortcuts? Well, it just depends on my mood. It depends on my mood, and that's the whole thing with being the whole famous thing and modeling thing and all that. Ugh, where they can style you and stuff, and that's the thing with me. I will probably really get on people's nerves unless it's somebody who's really patient and get to know me, that I'm not being rude. But for me to have to preach and they have to dictate like they did with Sarah Jakes, my hairstyles and what I can wear, and that's not gonna work with me. I'm not signing no contracts like that. So I'm gonna put that out there right now. Don't even come towards me with that crap. You gonna design me and style me or whatever, I'm gonna have to say and what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna not do. Because you ain't gonna have me out here making God an open shame and looking stupid for no bucks. You take your contract and everything and tear it up. I'm not being rude. I'm just setting the stage because that's a no. If I didn't wear pants then and preach in the pulpit, if I don't do it now, I ain't doing it for no paycheck and TV. That's just period. If that is what God has told me not to partake of, so like God say, what is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? If He been providing for me through the ins and out, He'll still provide. He'll send another contract or whatever. So this is what so many preachers and so many people have went wrong throughout. Y'all don't know what they is. I heard something sound like it was. I am not tripping. Hmm. All right, y'all. 'Cause I don't want this to be cut off on this. Oh, that's crazy. It literally sounds like something is walking on a bag or let me get this light. Oh, baby. Mm-mm. Yeah, I hear it. Oh, okay. Um, but anyway, let me get off here. I hope y'all was blessed with what God had to say and it blessed you. We always have to make sure, well, we need that clarity to know what it is we're talking about and where we're going, why we do the things, why we believe what we believe. Like you said, you should be able to give an explanation as to why you believe. Amen. Um, so it's important that we dissect what it is and get an understanding, a clear understanding, especially before we go to talking to other people and stuff about it or whatever. But understand God is bringing in some partnerships that you may not understand at first, but He is dissecting this um, because it's vital for us to understand in the positioning of purpose to where God is taking us. That you're not dating for where you are, but where you're going. This is very powerful for those that are coming into partnerships and stuff like that. And I didn't want to talk about it. He thrusted me to get on here. I didn't want to talk about it because I don't want to talk about love. I don't want to talk about counterparts. I don't want to, just to be honest, I really don't. I don't want anything to do with it. Nevertheless, a lot of y'all on here and you receiving the advice and whatever, and a lot of y'all pulling that out the atmosphere. So when it's on God's mind, He gonna put it on the prophet. If you show up, that's what's gonna come out. So just so you understand that it ain't no pre-programming of this and that or whatever. 99.99% of the time when I jump on here, it's pulling straight out of God. Out of it's nothing that I done wrote down. No, He just and I just flow with Him just like that. And it's just that easy, y'all. It's just that's all. Ain't no tricks, ain't no none of that. It's just the mind of God, what He says, and He delivered what through the vessels, through our. That's why He gave us these voices to do just that. So I thank God for you. But yeah, that's what I was. I was prophesying that. Um, He's opening our eyes to these things because many of you have to be conscious of the fact that the enemy will try to send you a fake spouse before the real one you come into contact with the real one. And a lot of people have made those mistakes. A lot of us have made those mistakes by thinking because the devil can see you too. He know what you want and like because you out here talking about it and all that stuff. And then you open your life up to readers who get their messages from him. So when you open the door, guess what you get? So y'all never look at this stuff along this line, but it all plays a vital part in how you operate and going about things. And when you do that, because you in disobedience, God allow that devil to have his way. So Just say it so you don't think I'm just talking about you. When I first know anything about terrorism and stuff, what the Lord guided me that way because these people that I met online, this is the things that they was doing. And they was sending all these kind of things or whatever it got to God. And I was like, I didn't know outside of music that anything else exists from YouTube because I had never been on YouTube. My daughter was like, and I was like, I think that phone that I have, I think it had like Pandora on it or whatever. And even on Pandora, I didn't even know they had podcasts and stuff. It was a whole time my children was like, Mom, you should open up a podcast. But then I started seeing people with the microphone. I was like, Child, I ain't got time for all that. They gotta go get a microphone. I gotta go do that, or whatever. So I don't know the way God did it. It was uh, very unexpected for me. I took 3,000 people off this page. I took 500 off here. The page was just growing on its own. I didn't even and when I was in prayer, God said, "Don't take now another person." Yeah, don't take now for another person out there because people was starting to get up in there. I was like, I take all y'all off here. And it was funny, y'all. And then it seems like after then, see how you just don't discard what God is doing. Now it was like the third time that I went to attempt to do that. After that, it seemed like God said, "Now I'm gonna make you work for it." See, it was easy, and just like a couple of months, it was already like the second, third month that I was on here. It was like 1,000 and something. I looked again, it was like 3,000. I was like, "Where do these people come from?" And what they do, and my daughter started laughing. She was like, "Mom," because YouTube is like it's TV. You know what I mean? And she was like, so she started explaining it to me. I say, well, it'd be nice if you stop putting me on these platforms without giving me the information you need to know what's going on. So when I did, I was prophesying to the young man or whatever, and the Lord revealed to me the same one I told you. He told me because in the time God appointed for us to meet each other, we met on that thing, that swipey thing that y'all connect with each other. It's not the fishy thing. It's the other one. Look like a card game. What the thing is? Um, the dating site. Then some match somebody, child. Oh, um. Anyway, and no, it ain't the bumbles, the tumbles. Somebody. No, it's the. I call it whole kingdom because them men on there for hookups. They weren't trying to. It's some kind of match thing. You know how you pick the person you like or whatever, picture profile, whatever crap. And then if they match the same with you and then they see your thing, like they can see your message or something and say hi, something like that, y'all connect or whatever. Or it just say y'all a match. I don't know why I can't remember the name of this darn date site. But whatever. Okay. Whatever. Um, that's what God was showing me because they was doing some crazy stuff, believe it or not, y'all. They was doing some really crazy stuff behind the scenes and stuff I'd never heard of. People who was connected with me claiming they believe in God as well. But I found these people to be polygamists and all this that I was just shocked. I be like, I was like, I did. My daughter tell you I had a conversation with her. I was like, but you only see that kind of stuff in the movies. My daughter was like, oh God, mom. Can you imagine that somebody sits up here all this wisdom from God? And I was like, yes, at that point, naive about all of that because I wasn't on no social medias and stuff like that. And to be close enough to the pastors that y'all say be doing all this kind of stuff, or they be doing all this kind of stuff, God always kept me out of the loop of all that stuff. So that's what you have to understand. But you hear things, and I'm just that person. I don't run with things that come through a third party that I just hear when it comes to people in a certain way. Now, they bring it to me, I'm going to observe. to see if it's true or false, you know? But as far as somebody just coming and saying something off the wall, and then I'm just gonna go off what they said, no. Anyway, especially when it's concerning somebody passing stuff, people lie all the time, for real. And I've learned people have things in their heart. Some people don't have enough to tell you they like you, and they find out somebody say, "Well, what do you know about so and so?" I'm kind of digging that. I'm kind of looking at that. And the first thing, no, no, don't mess with her. They got this, or they'll find whatever it takes, or do or say whatever it takes to drive you away from that person. When it might have been a God opportunity, but because the devil was right there waiting for the opportunity. See, to create fiction and then to redirect you somewhere else, and then you end up married to some old nutcase or somewhere else, and now God knows what he have to do to fix the narrative for you to get back with that person that he already put in front of you in the first place. But because you're so busy doing your research, you didn't do your research when you could have went to the person yourself. See, we put those daggers in our own heart. And all that was a diversion that was set there by the devil. And this is why God tell us if you lack wisdom, ask him. And you could have said, how, Lord, how should I approach this? And understand. It does not matter if you've known the person that you asked about that person 10, 20, 30 years, or think that's your boy or your girl. They lie just like anybody else, and they have undercover feelings that they don't show about you either. So we very well have established that. You thought that was your running buddy, your die hard and all that, and then you end up the whole time. Oh, he always got the best girls, but they ain't gonna tell you that to his face. But as soon as it comes to something like that, and especially when you start talking about this here on the screen, get married, you see all the wolves come out, they fangs and everything. Now all the questions when you was dealing with tricks and gold diggers and all that, you ever notice that? They don't ask you all that about that. What, dude? You caught that? You know the plenty of fish. You caught that? Man, give me that. Put y'all have y'all. You know, hey, dude, what's up? What's up? You caught that old girl? You know what I mean? How was it? What it was like? And all this and this and this and that. Y'all just rapping on. But soon as you find what's right for you, nah, no, you gonna have problems with that. No, they believe in God. Woo, woo, I don't think. No, they ain't driving a Mercedes. I don't know what's so perfect about Mercedes, y'all. I just don't get it. But anyway, and you so naive at that point and gullible. Maybe they don't like Mercedes. You ever see the Hallmark movie where they hide their identity? And which I know, yeah, that was a stupid question. um, but they hide their identity. Most of them, be princes, or royalty or whatever. Um, but it just amazes me because some of them just be rich or whatever. But they want somebody to love them for who they are and not their money, not where they came from. And they meet somebody. And this person changes their whole world because the parents gonna hook them up with people that they think they fit, and it's their tradition to marry whoever the family pick. Da 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 da. And these people find I'm gonna find my own way, and whether it upsets the royalty, my parents, and whoever, I just want to be able to find me in this part of my life. And more, and you barely ever see one of them that come across where it be that position, you know, and they show up with the girl at their house, or whatever the case may be. Either it's pretty much always they gear it towards the mamas. And oh, she was raised to be your wife, and she's taught through our traditions, and she's from our country, and son, and you're going to be the king, and you can't, and they. Then the daddy, I love the daddies in those movies. Because the daddy be coming with the real bim wim and with the logic. And he the one to take old snooty queen who ended up being the person that she didn't like because she see the same thing in that girl that you don't went out and met. You see? And then they have to sit up there and bite their tongue. But the daddy will stand up to the mama. I like those type of men. He say, remember, when I met you, my parents didn't even like it. Or you wasn't even this, that, or whatever. And it changed the tradition wherein the reign of him being king and all that kind of stuff by her becoming his wife. So why you trying to bound your son or daughter from making a decision where they're led? I understand us being parents. Don't forget, I have children. But to do all of that to the point that I make my child miserable just because no matter how you try to put it, parents is not always right, unless you God just himself. Yeah, your parents do not have to sleep with your spouse. Your parents do not have to live with your spouse. Your parents do not, yes. And at some point, they like children that come through the house. Eventually, they grow up and they go on. Eventually, your parents die. So unless you're gonna follow all that because you're waiting on the inheritance, that means you're too afraid to build something of your own, and you waiting on somebody else to die to get it. I don't even like people like that. I really don't respect people like that. You waiting on somebody to die to get a life insurance policy so you can live high with somebody. You waiting on somebody to pass away so they can you leave you an inheritance, and that's the only way that you can be free to date or to marry who you are. Y'all miss me with that every day of the hour. And if that's what you mean by me being non-traditional, then I guess that's what it is. Because that's a bunch of bull hockey. Period. Because even my mama and my daddy, and if it was that way as well, if I had to separate, and I'm not telling nobody to do that, so don't say that. I'm saying personally, if I had to sleep in a goddamn tent and be happy with my spouse, that's what I do. But before I let my mom, and she's sitting right over there, whether she's still on here or not, 12 or 2 o'clock. And even my children, they grown, they living their own life. I don't like him, but that's the thing. My children, I thank God for that. They protective over me, but they not in the way. Whereas if I choose that I want to date somebody or something like that, that they gonna be like, oh man, there's nothing now. Yeah. Them girls be gone by their business, yeah. And they tell you to your face, as long as you don't hurt my mama. I got one question, you gonna take care of her? You gonna treat her right? Okay, nice to meet you. Bye. But don't think they don't be watching. They be watching. Okay. So, but nevertheless, that's the portion that God gave us. And it may be a lot of people that may not want to support you. I think that was one of the first things that we had put on the screen. Um, but God say, regardless of whatever the dislikes and the opposition, God gonna make sure that it works. So don't let that put you in distress and be uneasy because God is gonna make the way straight. And that's the thing about God that you need to understand. The vision will always look bigger than your bank account and what you and just is greater than what you can fathom and understand. And what accompanies that, because we don't see the in between. Even if we prophesied and say somebody is coming, he does not reveal everything in between that. He don't tell you you don't stop through a divorce before you get to that person. He don't tell you that something may take place, God forbid, or whatever. I don't want to start naming that because I don't want to put that in the atmosphere. But we understand that life takes place. Okay. And whatever it is, and sometimes what's that one where the girl was catching the plane? Was she a flight attendant or something like that? And did she hit that man with her car? Did he hit her with his car? I think she hit him with her car, right? Is that another Tyler Perry movie or something? It's the light skinned lady, the pretty lady. And then they had, well, I think it was two parts to it, wasn't it? What? I don't want to look it up. I can't think of the name of the movie, but I do think it's got something to do with a Tyler Perry movie. And she had, wait a minute, is that the same one? Because I know she played in two of the movies. One of them, she was, yeah, because the whole time the friend, since they were kids, they had a thing for one another. But she was on, he had continuous girlfriends and all that. He was on his way to get married. Then when she got involved with this here man and come find out, he finally revealed his feelings for her, or whatever the case would be. So love was in front of her the whole time, and him. But he was still, and he was just seeing her nothing more than a friend. See? But he knew all that, and then there was somebody, they was both, or somebody thought they was flight attendants. I know that. But she was, and remember the boy mama? She could not stand her. And I mean, what that black lady, the comedian lady, she done passed away now. I know one of the sitcoms she played in with Tia Mari them or whatever. I can't think of the name. Did she play in what that one with Cat Williams them, Death at a Funeral or something like that? I think. Yeah. The lady with the big eyes, the dark skinned lady. But anyway, she the way she did that girl ran off with that wedding gown and he had to go behind her to catch her, whatever, because she had got to the point where she just couldn't bear that mama no more. That his mama. She was dragging that thing out. I mean, she was, I think uh TD Jakes was in one of them movies. But it was not Why Did I Get Married? It's the other movie. You know that big beach house that they had or whatever? I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm just leave it at that. But anyway, that just goes to show you out of all these things. So there is no perfect narrative for that because you don't know how God gonna orchestrate things. And that's why I keep trying to warn you. Because when we start setting our affections and having those expectations, and something could shift along the way, something could change along the way, whether appearances, finances, and the whole nine. But if you've been having your affection set on, and it's easier way now if it's somebody like on the internet and stuff like that, and you're able to actually remote view. Is it called remote view? To view them or whatever the case may be, it can put a different perspective there, but it still can be a false expectation and a narrative. Ooh, there it is, confirmation. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm just teaching you something so you don't get your heart broke, so you don't end up making the same mistakes, going around the same cycles, doing the same thing that gets us nowhere, especially with false wisdom, the things that deter us from the path and whatever what God got. Because for each one of us, there's a distinct blueprint that of that path that we are led upon. Amen. And just because somebody met somebody and they rolled off to the sunset, who knows? So you could have met this person in the airport picking their nose, and you sitting over there like, ooh, ooh, I wouldn't even never deal with that. And then maybe y'all flight was delayed, or maybe y'all had bad turbulence on the plane or something. And that same person that you was over there picking at them by picking in their nose, that's the Hallmark movies all day long. And you like, ew. you having all these thoughts. You having all these thoughts and stuff like, mm-mm. Or maybe their attitude was wrong or whatever. And what they do, they end up falling in love. And during the turbulence, he was there. Just breathe through it. Y'all get off that plane. Y'all go into a different direction, and then all of a sudden, boom, y'all pop up in that place. So some of y'all say y'all believe in miracles, y'all don't believe it, but you said you don't believe in happenstance. See? So however God orchestrate a thing, you see? So that could be anywhere. My mama was on her goddamn hospital bed, and I'm over there praying for her. She wasn't so sick to be, y'all. She was literally trying to set me up with the doctor. I was over there in the corner with the blanket all over my face and my hair. I was like, oh God, no. And he was handsome too, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, he was handsome. I wasn't looking at that he was a doctor, but and he was, and he did. He when my mama said it, that's why I mean I could have slid all the way up under, and I was like, oh my God. But he see me, he was like, oh my God, she's so embarrassed, and it's like he had a little blushy thing going on. I was like, oh my God, mommy. And I was like, ain't you supposed to be sick? That man's supposed to be over here trying to help you. And she said, well, um, doctor, I know you're checking on me and all that, but are you married? Oh my God, she made him blush so hard. And I'm over there like, oh no, oh no, 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 no. And I just took the cover and put it on. Even when he left the room, y'all, he took a moment by the door. But what happened was, and that just let me know it wasn't even about his money or his stature in life or whatever. He never even, it didn't even say that when he looked at me the same thing. Um, he actually said to my mom, he said he's getting ready after her, I think she had surgery. Yes, she did. And I was there with her. He told my mom, he said, he just went through something very harsh with a breakup. And he's getting ready after her surgery to leave town, to leave the country. He's not from the country, this country. But he honestly looked at her and he said that. He said, yeah, but I just, and he thought about it. You can tell he thought about it. But the other portion of him, so see what I mean? How would I know? Because if he the doctor, he had access to my mom's information. And apparently, it ain't hard for folks to find you online. So how do I know that couldn't be a surprise? You see, somebody you crossed paths with, you didn't even, and it was just left like that. God is over here preparing you and rebuilding them and all this kind of stuff where they needed to whatever. But that don't mean y'all couldn't come together at that place because he went through a breakup. But there was something, and God set him apart to be established at this time, and you established it. God know how to stop trying to put all this stuff and make yourself God and put this stuff to try to answer everything. It's not meant for them to have all the answers. That's the thing. That's the trespass for me. Shut up. Who asked you? I ain't asked nobody for no goddamn reading. I ain't asked nobody for no pop up church thing and your spouse is coming, you're calling for me, or whatever. So what? Shut up. It ain't your business. And you don't see that in the Bible. You really do not. You'll see what God said. Go down there and get the Ethiopian woman. He said that to the man God. He didn't announce that to the whole goddamn world. You read about it because it's a testimony. It's something to give you hope. So don't tell me your message is to give hope when you got to bring the whole demon and karmics that you're talking about and drag them all up in the messages and the person mama and you got nothing good to say and you're reading there about dolls and this going on with that and you got to revisit my whole past and the whole therapy session before you even reveal anything about this new love you talk about. So miss me with that. Okay? How you gonna give me hope and you still dragging up the past and then you gonna get mad when somebody say they don't want to hear about the past. Well, you will hear the thing. Because this way where this spirit work. We don't get this So they telling you what spirits this coming out with all this. Because I could talk to you about marriage, couples, and all that. We sit here, we laugh and all that without dragging your past down into what I'm saying. And I'm prophesying to y'all about counterparts coming. But he telling you to do what? Establish yourself, get yourself ready, be prepared, because you're gonna be surprised by what God finna come in and do. I ain't got to tell you you broke your tooth when you was two, and your mama came in and slapped you because you was doing all that crying and stuff and not understanding because you ain't said nothing to her or whatever. So now you got the you done been hurt by your mom and you got a fickle way of seeing women. So now what God had to do is spend 20 years for you to prepare your heart and whatever the case may be. And you still delaying the time because you know you're on your little night horse and you're riding the weather. You done crossed the world and you done ran around the world and the equator and you done went to heaven and you done came back because you've been 20 years fantasizing and all this kind of stuff before you get to the one that you supposed to be your counterpart because you know y'all had past lives. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? And y'all had sex in heaven and all this kind of stuff. So, baby, I mean, well, what's the point of y'all even coming together? Y'all already sexing and everything because you done put God now. You done put God because that would be fornication and adultery, especially if you here in the earthly realm and you married to somebody else. Because God said, well, he joined together, let no man put asunder. So how do you have a twin and y'all got to keep tracing each other? And y'all missed each other last time. But there's five more lifetimes that pass by. And this is the 10th lifetime or the 19th time. And you look at the license plate and up there on the sign at the gas station, it's going to tell you your numbers. And you can see in there your lifespan and whatever number that is and all that kind of stuff. So, because he done went from numerology to angel numbers. Oh, Jesus. And you better get you a read and all that kind of stuff because if it's retrograde and people circle back around during this time or whatever, so all the exits gonna be coming in. So we need to warn y'all and we need to let y'all know because y'all can't come in until March. If you do it in March or you do it in March, and if the sun go down and the moon is wrong, if it's darker, it's blood, you want to know because that's the vampires and that's the people that's gonna be sucking your blood. And your mama gonna turn into a witch because she got some people around there. They a party and they affiliated with the cult and the society. Because your mama that came up. Did they come up in the alumni and the what do people call that y'all be talking about in the church? What the oh, the stars, the Eastern stars and the Masons and all the stuff to see your different beliefs and all that kind of stuff or whatever. And with that person and that person being a Christian or whatever, because you got to understand, because they never close either. So all this and that, you still waiting. Where's the new love? Would you? You still this been 3 4 hours. You been and you just like this in house. This encouraging. Well, what happened was, and you want to understand why they single because they ex got an ex, which is karmic, and the karmic is mad, and see the karmic gonna turn around and the karmic gonna do this and that or whatever. So your karmic that you don't want, and now what happened is because when y'all get together and y'all like this on y'all marriage, the karmic's gonna crash your wedding. The karmic's gonna crash your wedding, and somebody gonna say at the moment they gonna come in and crash your wedding if anybody got anything to say, and baby, it's gonna be on pop. But your divine masculine ain't gonna play about you. But all to the point where divine masculine because he done went and got a reading for you. You done put all this stuff out here, and whoever his comic is, done find out. So she just searching for everywhere that we could be getting married because you so busy trying to make your stuff be real and trying to make your stuff be true. You still over here. But see, I don't want to spoil it, but the spirit said you're not supposed to know this. But he planning something for you, and you finna get married on the beach, child. You finna get married on the chopper in the 10 stories down there, but didn't you just say spirit say you ain't supposed to know it? You don't want to spoil it. And you don't want to say something. Some of y'all need y'all behind whoop. Period. For listening to it and them helpers that's out here telling y'all that mess. That's a bunch of bull hockey. And everything I just said stirs of strife, contention, friction, and all of that. Oh, divine masculine came and it's been 10. Y'all might have been, and then see, I see the number 6 on this card. So what it is you and divine masculine. It could have been 6 days, 6 years, 6 months, or whatever, because it's past, present, and future. Do you understand that? And you saying what? And this comment, she determined she's gonna mess this up when y'all come together, child. And she's sitting over there, and she over there on your platform, and you don't know nothing about that. See, you don't know this. You don't know this. See, you don't know nothing about your life and yourself. They know it all. The cards, they know it all. You in your body, you living your life, but you know nothing. Ain't that something? So God talked to everybody else about you, but you. What they doing? And you over there in the comments talking about that happened 20 years ago. Well, then it ain't for you. Because I see right here where my God said, my God's don't die. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And you sit up here like, you just a fool. Contentious. And their behaviors exemplify what's in their heart. And I understand with some of them because folks, these internet folks do get on your nerves. But still, how you gonna tell us that it's low vibration to act that way and to cuss and to show anger? Because even God did that, and wrath, judgment, all that. So basically, you telling us that God is low vibration. Nevertheless, y'all want to be gods too. And all these same things, you show all these same emotions and worse. So low vibration would be gossiping too, right? Slandering. The Bible said, don't busybody. Don't be a talebearer. Don't be a person starting confusion, strife, hate, debate. Are you worthy of strokes in your lips be hit in your mouth? Make it make sense now. Make it make sense. So if all that 12, 22, if all that consists of, look at that. If all of that consists of low vibration, what are you truly adhering to? Who is truly using you? Because the same people you talk about, you do the same things. And nobody got to ask spirits about you because we can see it. That's why he said, when you know the truth makes you free because you ain't easily fooled and you can identify. hmm Don't care how many dictionaries they make up because the only thing gonna be real is the truth that's in you, baby. Because he said the truth, that part. And Jesus is the truth, the way and the light. That path is through him. So if you embody the truth, how can you be living a lie, believing lies, and led by a lie, listening to lies of demons? And I leave that with y'all. But you better know God is watching because he done orchestrated some things. And when you go to getting and floating off that path, wherein God done told you this is what he chose for y'all, and this is how he want these things, and you bringing all these third parties, you asking for trouble. They're asking for trouble. So that's for somebody, because he just made me go through all of that. And I don't understand. Okay? You better be very careful. Because that devil, yes, he will. Why you think that you got all the know and you paying them to have all the know and they don't have nothing? I'm just going to be real. I love them as people, but I cannot sit up here to soothe their emotions and convey with them when God called it an abomination and it's a lie and it's misleading. manipulating, deceiving people. Because a lot of y'all don't like to admit that you have emotions and that you have feelings, but you've been governed by and you've been led by that. And this is all from the church to them divination people. And it's not all readers, it's not all church folks, but you have that source in that group of people. They even tell you that's a good and a bad to tarot. I can't confess that because God says it's an abomination. See what I mean? You can't be divided and trying to lean over here in order not to offend, but yet you offend God. So that's why God said, you either with me or you against me. Choose ye this day whom you gonna serve. You can't serve God and mammon. You can't straddle the fence. He said, you gonna come in the correct way, the straight way along this path, or you gonna miss. That's just period. So if that's what makes you angry about those who accompany and preach the truth and say what needs to be said outside of your beliefs and unbeliefs, that's not our problem. He told us to speak the truth in what? In love. Let everything we do be done in what? In love. You display that you hate church people. You hate karmics. You hate evil people. When he said we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So I understand if you said you hate the devil, but y'all never say y'all hate the devil. And that's the portion of the believers to tear his kingdom down, to wreak havoc in his kingdom. But it amazes me. You can hate all the people and all this stuff who you say you trying to help. Because if everybody got a shadow side and an evil side to them, as you say, wouldn't that make you evil incarnate? That's why you have to wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove when they delivering you message and they revealing things and definitions and all of that. What does that really mean? What is that really saying? Not what I want to hear and does that sound good and I might believe that because it sounds about right and about truth. No, you can't live on about truth and about right because God come from the place of truth and he demands that from the believer's life if you gonna say you belong to God. So that's just period. So I love y'all. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I think I love my puppy. Um, and I know it went all games and it's funny and all this kind of stuff, but it's more that you had got the message. Okay. Um, and I had to go there because that's what God led. So remember, the way you start the thing, if you're gonna come in being deceitful and lying and all of that, you can look for it down the line. In some place and time, God gonna destroy that because that foundation has to be destroyed. Whatever we do, it has to be built on truth, the foundation of the thing, and that is God. Amen. So I love y'all, and I pray you can always go back if you can always go back and rewatch the thing if you need to. I don't know how long we've been on here, but nevertheless, I'm gonna let y'all go and y'all have a good night. Bless y'all, and I'm believing God with y'all for what you asking God for, that He will lead you to the right person, in the right place at the right time, and the Lord will have a miracle with your name on it. That there will be no false marriages, contracts, and those things that the enemy is trying to put in front of us. Amen. That God will allow us to see through delusions and false. Okay, so jeez. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all later. Good night.